We are just 1 week away from the release of Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts in theaters, and I am so excited. So here is everything that you need to watch before Thunderbolts. And yes, there will be spoilers for everything that I talk about. These movies have been out. You just need to refresh your mind before this one. Let's get into it. Now, a lot of these movies are ones that I watched in preparation for Captain America: Brave New World, so I will not be rewatching them for Thunderbolts. I just am going to include them in this list for you to watch them. Starting us off is going to be Iron Man 2. Now, the Iron Man of this movie is not so important so much as Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanoff. This is where we get her introduction. This will be important for movies later on because the supporting characters in later movies and the soon-to-be main characters in the Thunderbolts are part of Natasha Romanoff's world. So, we gotta get her introduction. Up next is Captain America: The First Avenger. This is where Sebastian Stan makes his first appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Bucky Barnes. So that is why he is in this movie. And, of course, the Captain America symbol as a whole, which we'll get into John Walker later in the franchise. Moving along to the Avengers, this is where the Avengers Tower is first built. Again, a building is very important with the Thunderbolts movie and continuing the story of Captain America and Natasha Romanoff. Captain America: Winter Soldier is where we get introduced to modern-day Bucky Barnes as the titular Winter Soldier. This is a very, very important movie, and it's one that I love to rewatch over and over and over again. Age of Ultron begins the collapse of the Avengers. This is where the Avengers Tower ceases to exist, kind of, because of everything that goes on in this movie, so that is why it is important. Also, we get big information about Natasha Romanoff and the Red Room, and then Captain America has some great stuff continuing on from Winter Soldier. Now, the next movie isn't so much important to the Thunderbolts, but it is going to be important to later in this movie, so I feel like you have to rewatch Ant-Man. This is such a fun, breezy movie. It's such a good time. Up next, the biggest cataclysmic event in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Captain America: Civil War. This is where lines are drawn. This is such an important movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, both to Natasha Romanoff and to Bucky Barnes, because this later leads to their decisions of what to do in Infinity War and Endgame, and I really love it. Thunderbolts is going to answer the biggest question that we have been waiting for since Spider-Man: Homecoming. What is happening to Avengers Tower? And literally, yes, this whole movie is just because Tony is moving out of Avengers Tower and Spider-Man is stopping people from stealing stuff from it. That's entirely why it's on this list, is because the Avengers Tower is in this movie and we are following the trajectory of this building. I do think you see the building in No Way Home or at the end of Far From Home, but I watched those movies earlier in the year. You can rewatch them on your own yourself, but that is one movie that I will be watching for this go through. Up next, Avengers: Infinity War. Obviously, this is such a big movie. You have to put this in your list. Natasha and Sebastian Stan have some great moments in it, and you get to see more of the Guardians, although this isn't James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy. They still kind of act like how they are, but nonetheless, a still great movie. Up next is the movie that came out in between Infinity War and Endgame, and that is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. This is where we start to see the rogues gallery of the Marvel Cinematic Universe start to build with Ghost, who is a S.H.I.E.L.D. trained agent. That was a little kid, got superpowers, trained by S.H.I.E.L.D. to be this deathly killer, and is now kind of an anti-hero in the movie, not so much a villain. I really love Ghost, and I'm glad to see more of her, so I'm going to have to rewatch Ant-Man and the Wasp. And next up is the big climactic event of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Avengers Endgame. This is where everything in the MCU has come to a head, so you kind of have to watch this movie before going into events in the past. This is a heavy Clint Barton, Natasha Romanoff movie. Everything that happens on Vormir in this movie regarding those two is hugely important to projects upcoming in my list. So you have to watch Avengers Endgame. What I don't own is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so that is up next on your list. This show is hugely important. It was very important for Brave New World. It is very important going into the Thunderbolts for the story of John Walker, the supposed next Captain America, who kind of goes crazy once he gets some super soldier serum. And Thunderbolts is going to be what he is doing with his life after losing his mantle. This is your introduction to Val, the most important figure going into Thunderbolts, in my opinion. She is the one that holds all the cards. She is the one that knows all the secrets. This is her introduction. The show is fine. I think it's really good. I just think it loses traction towards the end, and everything that happens with Agent 13 is garbage. Now, the rest of these are going to kind of be out of order. We're going to start with Wakanda Forever. Val is in this movie. That is why this movie is important for rewatch. I did watch this movie earlier in the year, so I don't feel necessary to watch this again, but Val is in this movie, so that is why you have to watch it. And the final two projects of the MCU going into this are very streamlined because Thunderbolts is going to be told from the perspective of Yelena. So we meet her in Black Widow. Yelena's right there. Red Guardian is right there. I don't know if Rachel Weisz is going to make an appearance in Thunderbolts. I would hope so. I don't know why she wouldn't. At least they might make reference towards her. Nonetheless, another connection to the movie that's very important. So get your homework in for this. Black Widow is a great movie. I'm glad they gave this time to this character and gave her a really fun spy thriller. I love Black Widow. And because it leads into the Hawkeye show. I love the Hawkeye show so much. It is such a holiday treat. The Steve Rogers musical is fantastic. The little bit that you see from it, I'm glad that Disneyland gave a much longer glimpse into it, although they shortened the song from the show. But Clint Barton is dealing with the ramifications of what he did during Endgame and after Infinity War. I love Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop is Queen. Pizza Dog, love. Yelena is so important in this movie. I don't think Val makes an appearance in the show, but I want to say it's still going to lead into Thunderbolts with what Yelena does and Yelena's choice at the end of the show to not kill Clint Barton. So yeah, these two are my much anticipated projects of this rewatch. And even though I've watched a ton of these movies for my previous homework for Captain America Brave New World, I'm still excited to get into these movies and the Hawkeye television show. I'm so excited. Let me know what you're going to watch in preparation for Thunderbolts. Are you going to go see it in theaters? That's the other important question. Let me know all of that in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!